Good afternoon and welcome to the Rhino Strong podcast. This is James, your host. And today, I was thinking go over our 16-week squat cycle, peaking cycle, meet prep, whichever you want to call it. Been using this for years. Tweaked it little by little by little. It is a form of conjugate, basically just different. I believe in a single squat day and a single deadlift day. They both do complement each other, but I do think each one should be separate. Most likely, people are going to wonder, since most of us are equipped, if this works. It definitely works for both raw and equipped people. I have both at my gym, and I've trained both, and it works for everyone. It works on a percentage basis, and lifting the most you can with good technique. I rotate bars to actually force you to deload or change movements or create weaknesses. I think I'll start off with the first 2 weeks. These are pretty important, I think. These 2 weeks are like just getting your body ready for the program, pretty much. And this is one that, as you do them, you're going to find out where weaknesses might be, so that you're able to focus your accessory lifts or your main builder lifts, put them into your workout accordingly to what you really need. The first week we use a safety squat bar, and we go to a parallel box. The point of the parallel box, just to set you so you get used to the same hitting parallel over and over again. You don't have to bury it, literally just top of the knee, not your quad, but the top of the knee to your hip crease. We set it there. We'll do doubles all the way up, working. It's like pretty much 66% of what your best meat squat is. And then just cut it. And then work on your accessories. The safety squat bar will basically show you if you have any upper back weaknesses, or if you're rounding, or if you're leaning forward. Okay. Like I was saying, this one is to work technique, and also check to see what you're lagging. More so or less upper back or hip strength. Now the second week is just a little bit different. It's still focused on looking for weaknesses, but this one, I'm going to use a camber bar with 100 pounds of chains and work up to a bar weight of actually 65%. Once we get there, we do that for 2 sets of 3 reps. Then up it to a little bit more to 67%, and then just do 1 single of what our meat max is. Pretty much a camber bar, like it's another specialty bar. If your core has any issues, or if you're having any problems coming out of the bottom, if you're not staying tight, you're going to find out real fast. And like I said, there's tons of accessories you can put in, depending on what you need. If you're with the safety squat bar, if you're dumping forward, maybe you need to use that a little bit more as an accessory lift, maybe for like a couple sets of 6s or 8s. Now, if you are more like a bodybuilding movement, but nothing's going to fix that more than just building a strong fucking upper back. And if you're having trouble at the bottom rolling forward, then more than likely you're already leaning forward, and the safety squat bar is pushing you forward even more so. Or when you come up out of the bottom, you're doing like the stripper squat thing where your ass is kicking out first and your chest is pushing forward, and then you kind of like correct yourself and push your knees out and you follow through. If you do that with a safety squat bar, you're fucked. So if you're having any of these issues, it could be a technical thing you need to fix. And if it's hip strength, fix your hips. Box squat is an accessory. You can do that ultra wide stance to a low box, a little lower than parallel. You can do it for, you could do, 10 sets of 2. You could do, 6 sets of, as long as you're getting like 24 total reps in, you'd be good. And try to keep it around like 60 to 70%. But really focus on coming off the bottom with your hips. A good belt squat, do that too, sitting way back so that your ankles are perpendicular. So they're so far back that you couldn't just stand up. You'd have to drive off the box and come forward. Sumo squats, more than likely you'll be doing box deadlifts would help you from the bottom with hip drive. A few things like that, just that would help making your hips stronger if you're having the problem with your hips pushing forward, and maybe that's why you're rounding at the top of the safety squat bar. Now the camber bar, which is the second week, then it's a lot more core. Finding that access, finding those. Some motorcycle going crazy out here. You can do McGill's, farmer carries. Like I said, you can do some light camber bars for high reps as an accessory after your main lift. To a box. Suitcase carries. Overhead kettlebell carries, walking. Focus on your core if that's where you're having a problem. Step ups onto a box, holding a dumbbell overhead. These are all things that would put you in a really awkward position to keep your core braced. You'll want to lean to one side or the other, and it'll keep you a lot tighter. With those 2 weeks, like I said, they're the first 2 weeks. They're just setting you up to try to find some weaknesses is really all it is, and then program those in and try to fix those for the your next 14 weeks, 13 weeks. So weeks 3 and 4. Now we're at weeks 3 and 4. You're finally going to actually begin to put some weight. These 2 weeks we use between 48 and 52% of bar weight, and we use 80 pounds of bands at top. We'll work up with 4 sets. Well, after warming up, we'll work up to 4 sets of triples with each set. This is just, it's going to build volume, and it's going to try to build technique with your squat. These weeks are going to be done with a Duffalo bar, and they're going to go to a parallel box you're going to squat to. Reinforcing your core and stability coming out and driving forward right all the way to the top. The band's kind of forced that in you. Week 5 would be our first maybe official deload. It's not like a technical deload where a lot of people think. This week's a little different. This one is basically, we're just going to use a safety squat bar, and you're going to do a free squat. Since people are going to lift way less with a safety squat bar, they're going to lift a straight bar, so it's going to force a deload upon you. And to make it even more of a direct force deload, we'll do 5 reps warming up. So everything is 5 reps per set warming up. Once you get to all the way to 55% of bar weight. Now once you get to that, you're going to do 3 singles with between 65 and 72%, and just cut it and work on your accessories. It's just a little break to check on, see how your accessories are working, if you need to add or take some in and out, and to give you a small break before you actually begin. Because there really isn't another deload. There is, but it's way at the end. They're just lighter weights, but this is the first real one, and the only real one, to be honest. I said a lot, Jesus Christ. Week 6 and 7, we use a camber bar with 50 pounds of chains, working up to 4 working sets of 2 reps. The 50 pounds of chains are really just going to help you brace even more. I mean, the bar forces you to brace hard as it is. Now the 50 pounds of chains hanging are going to force you to brace your core and your upper back even more as you come up out of the bottom of the squat. If you're having trouble if you're having a ton of trouble with the chains, then take the chains off. But I would rather if you can do it and you can brace hard, it's better to use the chains. The first week, you're going to work up to between 60 and 68% for the bar weight, for your working sets. And the second week, 62 to 70. So it's really like the next week, you're going to really just go up, 10 pounds, 15 pounds. You're just looking to do a little bit more so that the total volume is a little greater. That's pretty much all you're doing. The next 4 weeks are like a little bit more direct, 8 to 11. They're more related to a comp lift, since we're going to use a Duffalo bar. So it's just got a small curve to it. It's just a little better on your shoulders, since you'll be benching and deadlifting and everything else. It just gives your shoulders a little fucking break. The first 2 weeks, week 8 and 9, we used the Duffalo bar. We box squat against the green Elite Fitness bands. There's it's more than 80 pounds of tension. I'm not sure how much. We've been using these just for, like I said, I'll throw bands in there just for the fun of it, or to piss people off, one of the two. Now, if you're squatting over 800 pounds and 100 pounds, I would probably use the white Elite Fitness bands. But anything under 800, the green bands are fine for this. Like I was saying, okay, so you're gonna use these, and you're gonna work up to just 3 top singles. So we're taking volume out, but we're using more weight, in a sense. And in week 9, all you're trying to do is beat week 8 by like 5 to 25 pounds. So think about that in week 8. You don't want to fucking crank it out, and then week 9 comes and you add 10 pounds and you fucking get buried at the bottom. It's like I said, I like to say, like, you want to go to like what feels like 95%, between 90 and 95% of what you feel like that day too. Because it's all relative. If you've been sick or you're down some weight or anything like that, you might have to go a little lighter. And then the next week, maybe you can jump up higher if you feel better. Jump up, do a 50-pound jump or something like that. It depends. It matters how you feel that day. But you want to be between how you feel about 85, 90 to 95% actual bar weight. Weeks 10 and 11, I would say, are just a little different, because now we're doing them with 100 pounds of chains. And till this, this is probably, before it was 50 pounds, so it's a lot heavier. They're actually probably going to cause more of a direct correlation to like any like weaknesses you have in your core. So we're getting closer to the, to lifting the heaviest weight. I think it's like 12 and 13 and 14th week. So you need to be bracing hard. You need to have your movement perfect. So I use these, and we do them with a free squat to try to force you into holding your core as tight as possible. But, there's like a little but, I guess. So, the weeks before we did we worked up to singles. These 2 weeks are just going to work up to a top double. It gives you a little break. You're still going to handle a lot of weight at the top with the 100 pounds of chains. And it's going to get your central nervous system ready for what is to come in just another week. After these 2 weeks, which is week 12, you'll be taking like a 50% deload for 5 singles with the safety squat bar to a parallel box. Once again, by putting you on a box, it's to take pressure off your knees, and the safety squat bar is just for you to keep your chest up. Like I said, these next the 2 weeks before and then this week is your last chance at keeping your core tight and your fucking chest up and not letting yourself round over, driving your hips up out of the bottom. And you had 4 weeks in a row, so this is like a week to take a little break off your knees before the 2 heaviest weeks of your prep. Give your central nervous system a little break too. Because the next week, week 13 and 14, those are the heaviest weeks you'll do. 13 and then 14. 13, you're going to work up to your 3rd attempt. In week 14, you work up to over that. Both of these weeks are full gear, full setup, whatever you want to call it. If you're wearing a suit, the strap should be up. If you're knee wraps should be done these weeks. If you're raw and you're not, and you're using like just knee wraps, then you wear knee wraps. If you're, like put the belt on, these ones are like whatever you're going to wear on meet day, you're fully geared for whatever the meet day is, 100%. Nothing lacking. I don't care if you wear wrist wraps. I mean, every little fucking thing you do for meet day, you do for these days. Now, these we're using the competition bar. So we'll use I use a 65-pound competition bar, squat bar. But whatever bar you are going to use at your meet, you should try to emulate that. Use that bar. And that is probably these are the first 2 weeks you've had a straight bar on your back. The Duffalo bar is not much difference. It's not going to change fucking anything. And you're only doing this 2 weeks, so you're not beating the fuck out of your shoulders. So your shoulders are strong and healthy for your bench. For these 2 weeks, we do use the Elite Fitness red bands, and we put them over top of the mono for a deload out of the bottom. So at the top, just about all the way, I mean, pretty much they're completely, they're not loose, but they're taut, but they're not, you're not getting anything out of them at lockout. So there's less weight in the bottom and it comes to the top, so it's the heaviest on your stand-up. If you have a mono, this is best to do on a mono, especially if you're lifting with multiple lifters, because as the mono raises up and down in height, the weight is pretty much the same for everyone that the band takes off, because the mono is moving. So it's moving according to the height of the person. So one band will work pretty much for every height person. If you're going to pull it out of a rack, do the best you can to set it up, I guess. I think that's horrible, but there is ways to set it up. Send me a message and on Instagram, and I'll do my best to help you with it. Send me some pictures or something, or whatever you're using with. So basically both of these, you're going to do singles both these weeks. Even all your warm-ups, even when you're starting, just singles. You're just trying to perfect one rep. The more reps you do, the more maybe you'll get tighter on second or third reps. You're programming your brain to do a later rep better than the first rep. And that's probably the worst idea, especially since in the meet you do one fucking rep. So 1 rep for every single warm-up all the way to the top. And like I said a little bit earlier, week 13, you're going to work up to your 3rd attempt for that meet. In week 14, you're going to work up to more. That should be an overload at the top, that more weight than you've ever handled, or more than you're attempting to handle, just so that you've had extra weight on your body. Meet day, it shouldn't feel as heavy at the top. So your central nervous system and your brain, when you stand up, you're like, oh, this ain't so bad. A lot of lifting is mental. A lot of it's fucking mental. And if you're in gear, it's everything. Your stand-up is literally everything. Now, week 15, technically, I like to squat on Saturdays so that I have 7 days before the meet. So, and this is anyone over a 700-pound squat, you probably should have a full week off. But anyone under 700 pounds, it's probably going to be okay for you to squat 7 days out, depending on your age, your central nervous system, your recovery ability. But most people can do it. So week 15, which is 7 days out, if it's on a Saturday, this is probably an actual deload. This is 50% of bar weight. You're going to use 50 pounds of chains with a safety squat bar, and you're just going to work up to that, slowly doing 1 rep just till you get to 50% bar weight. As soon as you get to 50% bar weight, call it. That's it, and that's the last of your lower body training until meet day. Now, this day I love doing safety squat bar to a box because it focuses your hips. It allows you to really focus and keep your chest up, and it takes a deload off of your knees. So this last week, you are also, like I said, you're going to go to a parallel box. Plus, you're going to a parallel box for all your singles on your last week, making sure your brain is set. Okay, this is where I have to come up. This is where I'm coming up. I think most people should have someone call them up on your squat on meet day, but this is even a mental reminder when you have to come up. Where does it feel right to come up on your squat? And then, like I said, you'll do, usually we do a bench on Tuesday or Monday, and that's, a heavy floor press leading up and some back work leading up until the meet day. But this is definitely your last lower body anything for 7 days till meet day. So it'll be more like just rest. I've never given a program out over online or definitely a podcast or anything. If this seemed a little confusing, send me a message. I can help you with it. I do sell programs too. They're $120 for 16 weeks, where I just need your numbers, your meet numbers, and I program everything in for you. And all you got to do is send me the first couple weeks of your lifting, and then wherever your weaknesses are, I'll add accessories in for that. But yeah, I feel like I just kind of rattled this off and didn't say much more than anything else. So I will throw this in. Nilton has been doing a program. He did, it was a very basic, it was the first one, so it was a beginner's program. My buddy Nilton, I met him at this gym Discipline, and he had a bunch of squat issues, knee issues, shoulder issues. There I taught him how to box squat. He added that twice a week as an accessory and a main lift, and hip strength went through the roof. Deadlift went up. Showed him a few technique issues that he had with his sumo pull. That increased. When I opened my gym, he came and signed up the first day. Worked with him more on that. Worked with him on his bench and upper back strength. And then, like I said, then he did this 16-week program, which is a beginner program to my style of conjugate. And what it does is it's not the one I just read off. It's a totally different one. But what it does is it finds and fixes weaknesses based on what problems you have. But it is a beginner one. And so he did his mock meet today. And I posted on Instagram. It was a 30-pound PR on a squat, a 20 or 25-pound PR on his bench, and then he had a 60-pound PR on his deadlift. This dude's never done all 3 lifts in the same day. He definitely hasn't done them all maxed out the same day. And I'll tell you what, the last deadlift he did, I think he could have got heavier. It was so exciting. He was I had chills, my hair stood up. It was he was so fucking hyped. And he's such a quiet guy. Anyone knows Nilton, he's so quiet. He's very calm, very restrained. but he has like he can put that fire in him, and he held it in, and he has anxiety, and he built it up, and he let it all fester until his last pull. And after he set that bar down, he let it out. And if you our Instagram, Rhino Strong Gym on Instagram, check it out. It was fucking amazing. He's 145 pounds. I think he's ready to now. They might have him do it, but we're on by Westchester, so I'm gonna try to have him do a meet close first, maybe Long Island next year. Shauna Mendelson has some awesome meets, and we'll do one there next. So everyone that's close, do it there. Either her or like they have Gaglione has some small ones, and get him into like doing just one meet. Once he does one, he'll be hooked because he's fucking so pumped and so excited that he's gotten so strong, and that he feels great, and his body feels great. Which I keep saying that's the most important thing. It doesn't matter how strong you are in the gym if you feel like fucking shit the rest of the week. You'll be fucking miserable walking around basically like a cripple just to get into the gym to pull some heavy lifts. It's fucking not worth it in my mind. You gotta still live. All right, I guess that's it. I'm gonna chop this up and send it to the press. Have a good night, everyone.